Alright, welcome VOD and stream watchers to some more Little Nightmares 3. This is gonna be a little bit different. I know originally I was going to do Hunt for the Dolls and whatnot. And you know, I might still do that while I talk, but this isn't going to be a big gameplay heavy video. This is just gonna be me chatting, talking about a few things. I don't know. It depends on how much I feel like I have to say, while not, like, showcasing anything, because I've got some images to show you. I have my Spiral Edition. I unboxed it a few days ago. I can finally stream today, or, well, tonight. So I'll show you some pictures, and this Spiral Edition box gave me a, one item in particular gave me a massive slew of just shit I want to talk about, and a bit of disappointment with the game in a few regards, and it's just some stuff that I want to talk about. And I guess to preface this, I enjoyed the game. Look, I did. At the end, I said that at the end of my initial playthrough, I enjoyed the game. I liked it. I thought it was decent. Was it good? Was it great? No. But it was alright. And I have a bunch of issues with it, and a lot of these issues are big issues, so I just can't say that this was a great game. Just decent. Especially when we're considering this is supposed to be part of Little Nightmares. So without further ado, let me pull up my handy files. And we can display capture? Yeah. So we'll just go in. I took a crap ton of pictures, and I just it uploads to Google Images, so I just did that. So let's go in, and we'll just start at the top. So this was like the actual unboxing. It came in this box. I tore off all the stickers for obvious reasons. My camera didn't flip properly, but this is what it looked like on the inside. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, the Steam version of the game, at least the one I got, the box I got, didn't come with fancy, like, stuff in the middle. Because some of the other Spiral Editions I've seen have, like, designs on the inside here when you, like, open it up. Like, there'll be, like, a spiral or, like, some eyes or just, like, other shit. But the one I got was fucking plain as shit. It didn't have anything. Which kind of sucked. And this right here, I'll let you know ahead of time. This is the coin that comes with the Spiral Edition. But it didn't come in a box. But I've seen from other Spiral Editions, it's supposed to come in a box. It's supposed to come, like, in a little box thing. But mine just came in a little cool, like, admittedly, it's a cool pouch. But it didn't come in a full box, so I'm like, did I get a leftover one? Or what, like, what the fuck happened? Or, because the only thing I can personally think of is that, okay, maybe the design, maybe there wasn't design, but maybe, you know, this was, like, the airport, because I'm in America, and this was something you had to buy from Europe, so maybe, you know, they had to take it out because it's a coin, you know, all that kind of stuff. But, like, I don't know if I believe that to be the reason, but I don't know. But this is kind of all of my stuff laid out. This is the box with the mirror edition with all the cool stuff. This is the base. We'll get to that later. Because I have some issues with that thing. And then the dope-ass gnome controller thing, which I also have some issues with, but it is cool, and it's not a massive issue, it's just like a, well, okay. And then the coin. And yes, this is a Spice and Wolf desk mat. Yes, I did grab a fun illustration image and get it custom made by some site I don't remember anymore. It's of decent quality. It's rubbed off quite a bit, unfortunately, around here. It used to be, like, all bright and whatnot, but, you know, I have my other desk mat now. I have a Life series desk mat, the new one for Past Life. That is the main one I use, and then this one is just on the side, that I can continue using as well. And my fun little Marauders map copy I got from Universal, and then this was from the Death Stranding Collector's Edition. There's my Switch 2, which you'll be seeing in action later, actually, in a few days, which is exciting, because of the new Pokemon game. So it's going to be exciting to jump on streaming Pokemon, because I haven't really done that. I've done a few, like, challenge stuff and whatnot with Toby, but I haven't done, like, new Pokemon games, because I wasn't really streaming, and I didn't have a Switch. Well, no, I think I was streaming when Scarlet Violet came out, but I didn't have a Switch, so I couldn't play it. Now I do. I have a Switch 2, and I will be playing, ZA when it comes out, live on stream, so... Like, I plan on doing it as soon as it comes out, so catch that if you're interested. But anyway, so that's just, like, general unboxing. Let's get to the coin. So, yeah, it comes with this little pouch, and then it's just standard coin. That has low there with the cracks on it, and alone there with more cracks on it, which is interesting. It's just standard coin, nothing too special. I really like the pouch, though, honestly. I think the pouch is quite nice. The gnome. So here's our little gnome boy. It's a controller holder. Allegedly. And sorry in advance for my poor camera quality, because my camera quality is bipolar. It's either, like, decent quality or absolute shit. It has a really bad issue with focusing on everything. And, like, when it focuses on something, it refuses to focus on anything else. Even if you cover the camera and, like, uncover it or point it away or whatnot, it just refuses to focus. So that's why this is a little out of focus, unfortunately. But here's our little dude. Also, Bandai kind of fucked that you made the gnome holder the fucking runaway kid. Or at least referencing it with the sausage right there. It's like, you gave us the runaway kid as the gnome statue? It's kind of fucked, bro. But it's really fun. And I have it set up holding my PS5 controller, which again, I have some issues with. I'll show you in a sec. You'll see in a sec. There's the back. Side, you know. It's just a cool gnome. And then here's it holding my controller, which, you know, right off the bat you see, it doesn't hold the controller properly. Now this might just be because I have a PS5 controller. Maybe it's meant for other controllers, but it doesn't hold it. Unfortunately. So, you know, maybe it works with Xbox controllers, even though Xbox controllers look different, because they have, the joysticks there and there, usually. Even though this one is holding what looks like... I guess this might be a PS4 controller, not PS5, so that might be why. Which is a little bit dumb, considering the PS4 is kind of out of style at the moment. Like, PS5 is the new console. That's the main new console. PS4 is being phased out slowly. Why they gave us a PS4 controller holder instead of a PS5, I don't know. I guess it's just because they've had this in the bag for a while, and they designed it for PS4. And then, like, you know, unfortunately now it's PS5 instead. But yeah, holding my controller, twirl them around a little bit. Yeah, that's the gnome. I think that's probably one of my favorite parts to this, is the gnome. He's really cool. The unfortunate thing is he doesn't fit where I have my, like, shelf in my TV. It's on a different wall, but I have my TV on, like, an elevated shelf, and then under that I have another shelf holding all my DVDs and shit. Unfortunately, the gnome doesn't fit between the space between the elevated shelf and the normal shelf, where I have my regular PS5, because I have it, like, in between. My PS5 is on top of the main shelf and under the elevated one. It doesn't fit under there, unfortunately, and I would rather not have it blocking my TV, so I will have to figure out what to do with it, but right now it's just on my shelf, and I kind of have a weird thing going on. But yeah, so that's the gnome. He's pretty fun. here's the mirror unboxing. So this is the mirror edition. Comes with all the other fun stuff. Just another look at the box, all that kind of fun stuff. Again, pretty shitty quality, unfortunately. And this I'll talk about in a sec, but this is kind of funny, and it made me feel stupid, and I'll explain myself when I get to it. But yeah, so here's the soundtrack, the art book, which we will have a very long topic, or that's going to be a very long discussion. That is going to be, that's the main reason, like, okay, so I learned the dolls don't give you a different ending, and I was like, oh man, well that means there's not really much of a reason to, like, do another big VOD on it, other than just, like, a few, like, maybe some secret hunting and stuff like that. You know, there won't be a lot, because there aren't that many secrets. There's a few things, that, like, to point out that, you know, you might not notice the first time, but, you know, not having a full reason to do a second playthrough, besides, I guess, playing as alone, kind of sucked. There isn't a lot of replayability with this one. I mean, not that there was much in the last two either, but, you know. But we'll have a very long discussion on this, because that is the main reason we're back, for an actual discussion VOD kind of thing, is because this art book is, yeah, you'll see. Yeah, so here's everything laid out. This was the stickers, by the way, and this is the game key, which I will probably give to a buddy or something. We'll see what we do with this deluxe edition key. I might also give it away, but I feel like it's a bit too late to do that now. I don't know. This is the figurine and the soundtrack, which unfortunately is a paper sleeve. Not that that is, like, too bad, but I wish it was a normal sleeve. And I wish that we'll get back to this, but yeah, I'll explain myself later. Because I want to do this as things go. Yeah, the art book, which came weirdly like this. Like, I just took it out of the box, but it already had, like, this curve on it, which isn't great. But here we go. There's the soundtrack. Apparently there's 31 tracks in the game. I don't remember hearing all that many songs. I'm not gonna lie. This is another little topic, is that I talked about there being not a lot of ambience, I think. Or I think I talked about it. But one of my issues with Little Nightmares 3 is that the ambience is kind of meh. It's kind of shit, honestly, in some areas. And some of the chases don't have music in it. Like the Candy Factory, some of the chases with the supervisor, there wasn't any music to it. But it makes me think, that might be a bug that they still haven't fixed for whatever reason. That might be a bug, and the music was supposed to be playing, and it didn't, and that kind of affected things. But yeah. But still, I'm glad to have the soundtrack, and I'll give it to listen to it, or I'll have a listen to it on my own time. Also, yes, I'm in my PJs when I took this. It was that night, because it was after work when I had to open the thing. It did come with a digital code, but unfortunately that digital code is for the Bandai Namco website, not Steam. Even though I bought a Steam edition, it doesn't have a Steam code. That's what this is here. That's the code for the soundtrack. It doesn't have a code for Steam, which is unfortunate because it means I have to go on the website and then I have to download the thing manually. I can't have it just on Steam for me to download on whatever device I want, which is kind of fucking stupid, but it is what it is, I suppose. This is the sticker kit. I just had some fun stickers. The mirror, Low and Alone, Carnival, the Candy Factory with the gnomes, the crow. And this thing caused me a lot of grief. First off, it looks cool. It's a fun seal box. With Alone there, and Low, and a cool little picture like this when you open it. And then I realized the seal box they gave me, because I did Steam, and Steam doesn't have a way to do physical discs and stuff. They gave me a Nintendo Switch. They gave me a Switch one. A Switch steel case. Which brought two issues to my mind, and I thought, wait a minute, I already bought, like, I'm already getting it for Steam, because I'm not getting this Spiral Edition on time, because I'm West Coast. Like, first off, collector's editions never come on time. Almost never, anyway. Second off, game releases are typically earlier in the day. So, like, you know, usually they're midnight or early day. Shipping doesn't happen till later in the day, usually. So not only do they almost never come on time, but if they do come on the right day, you still aren't gonna get it on time. And with me streaming and stuff like that, like, I want to get this, I want to be playing this as soon as it comes out, because one, I'm excited, and two, I don't want spoilers, and I want to have, like, a genuine reaction to all this stuff, and whatnot. So, yeah. And, third, I'm on West Coast. I live in Oregon. That means that there is a time difference, so that means that the games usually release even earlier for me, which means, again, I will never get my collector's edition. But I realized, like, I bought the Steam version anyway because I'm never going to get this collector's edition on time. Why in the hell did I buy a Steam version of the collector's edition when I could have bought, like, a Nintendo Switch version so I would have a separate copy of the game I could actually use on my Switch on the go? Or, if I had bought the PS5 version, then I could have gotten a disc steel box to put the fucking soundtrack in. And I'm just, like, sitting there staring at this thing. I'm like, God damn it. Like, it's not a waste, because I have a code I can give out to my friend. As long as they want it. But it's still, like, I could have, like, this could have been so much better for me. But it is what it is. That was kind of one of the things where I felt a little fucking dumb. Man, this is just the deluxe edition. Has a little thing to peel off. Hey, Z, how's it going? Is that it here? Yes, it is. Okay. Next is the art book. We're gonna skip that because we're gonna do that next after we do the figurine. We show this off, and another little gripe with this box, but you'll see in a sec. Just, you know, the box art for it, whatnot, for the collector figurine. It's a fun little figurine. Just alone. Pretty decent quality. It's a little cheapy. The gnome is really high quality. Besides, the sausage is a little bit weird looking. It's not quite high quality, but the gnome itself is really good. And I think this is the music base, yeah? Yeah, we'll talk about this. You'll see my issue with this thing. Pretty decent. Thanks for asking, Z. It's a pretty simple music base. You just plop it on, turn it on, music plays, and it turns. And this is the point where I find my settings, audio, turn off everything, so you guys can hear this yourselves. I'm going to mute up and let this play for a second. What am I doing today? We're just going to talk about Little Nightmares for maybe like an hour or so, and then we'll figure out what we do after that. I'm going to mute up, and I will let you guys experience this for yourself. Wait, hold on. I think in order to do that, I do kind of need I do need my display capture to I need something to capture this with. Whoops, application audio capture, and we want my photos. Those. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now I'm gonna mute up so you guys can hear it and you guys don't get interrupted by my damn AC. If I can.
Holy freaking audio bitrate, Batman. I can hear the artifacting. It seems to be looping now. So I think that's it. Yep. That seems to be it.
Okay. Yeah, so as you can hear, it doesn't come across very well here, but as you can kind of hear, the audio is ass. It is so trash. Like, at first, the first section of the song is kind of fine. The second part of the song is a little not great, but it's still fine. But as soon as it gets into the main part of the song, you can hear the artifacting, and it sounds so much worse in person. It's so bad. Like, give us an actual music box. Like, that's what I thought this was going to be. Of course it wasn't, it was just the music, and I was like, okay, whatever. But the music quality is trash, and honestly, it's not the best song choice. It's not what I would have chosen, at least. Let me turn back on my, Little Nightmares audio. No, okay. Whoops, wrong thing. Just my video list. But yeah, so the audio quality is absolute dookie on this music box. So it's probably never gonna get used in that way. But it's still a fun little statue to have up, and I have it on my shelf. But yeah, this section was pretty bad. It was pretty terrible. And let's start deleting all this so I can save some space. Alright, next is the art book. My biggest issue with this box, or well, it's my favorite part of this box and my biggest issue with it, because it then makes me have an even bigger issue with the game. And which is why this stream VOD title is probably going to be called What Went Wrong. So let's take a look. Now, I'm going to go into full screen for this so we can enjoy this as much as possible. Again, my photo quality is bad, okay? Little warning, it's not going to look the greatest. Unfortunately, that's just the way my phone is. I don't have a great phone. It's a Moto G stylus thing, and the picture quality for mine is trash for whatever reason. It's just the way it is, unfortunately. But yeah, so this was the little art book. And this isn't all the pages, by the way. This is just some of them. I can show off more if I really feel like I need to, but these are kind of like some of the main ones, except I think one or two that I couldn't get out right. Because it's a little bit of a weird process with my photos to back up. It doesn't work properly. But anyway, so this is the cover, this is the back. You know, it's just a little art book. And then we find out this is a concept art book, which, you know, of course it is. But, like, what's in this book doesn't line up with what's in the game, which is my biggest issue with this, like, collector's edition, is that it makes the game look in an even worse light than I already had it. Like, I already thought the game had issues. This just makes me think the game had some very fucking bad issues. And that's why it's like, it's my favorite book because of some of the stuff I see in it. It's also my my biggest gripe with the box, because you've decided to include this despite knowing that people are going to look at this and go, wait, what? Why? Like, for example, I give a hint. This is in the section of the Necropolis, and this is the baby. And now, I don't have another picture. There's, I think, a better picture of the baby. But the baby here looks a little creepier than the actual baby. And I think it's the cheeks. The baby in the actual game has like very full round cheeks. It has a lot more of like a proper cutesy vibe, and it doesn't really look creepy. Also, the fact like its eyes being doled out, I think, is a little bit better, to make it look a little bit creepier and stuff like that. Just the baby doesn't look creepy. It's not a very nice monster design in game, but here it looks relatively fine. And here we see that in the game originally we were supposed to go to the fucking baby's like little daycare area. Like there was an area you're supposed to go for the baby. And also looks like the baby was supposed to be smaller. Which, you know, like, is fine being bigger and, just upscale all this for that. But, like, this would have been so fucking cool if we had to go raid the baby's hideout, but we don't. Because all the necropolis is just going through a few sections of a ruined city that don't look all that interesting. There's, like, maybe 1 or 2 rooms, period, that look like anything interesting at all is happening in there. Like, the rest is just desolate city. That's all it is. So to know that we, like, missed out on actually interacting with the baby, where it came from, how it came to be, like, what the fuck? What happened? Why? And here's some more, like, stuff on the dolls there. This is Candy Factory. We'll go back, because Candy Factory has me the most pissed off. Well, actually, no, this has me pretty pissed off right after it, but Candy Factory has some stuff that I'll show you that really grinds my gears. But I think there was a few other things. I think some of the other designs for the city looked a little more desolate and ruins, and just looked a little more eerie looking than what we got. The current city we got just doesn't have the vibe. It's one of my issues. The area, like, the world itself, the vibe of the game just doesn't click. It's not Little Nightmares to me. Like it's trying to be. I can feel it, but not really. But as soon as I opened the book and I saw this shit, I was like, what happened? This is Little Nightmares. This right here, this is like, oh hell yeah. You show me this image to me when like Little Nightmares 3 was announced, or like in some of the trailer stuff, and I would have been like, oh fuck yeah, dude, this is gonna be so good. If this was in the game, Necropolis would have been so much cooler. Like, have more stuff like this. Like, you guys had plans to have, like, all these intricate areas to make the world feel more fleshed out in that Necropolis area, and you just didn't put it in. Why? Like, this is the kind of shit that people love Little Nightmares for. It's why people like the world building of the game, but it didn't exist. It's not there. Why? What happened? What went wrong? I'm going to see. Okay, so first off, get a theory out of the way of what actually happened. I'm going to assume Bandai Namco rushed Supermassive because, as you might know, there is a book called The Lonely Ones. That is a Little Nightmares book that also came out right before the game, and I think relatively soon we're supposed to get the Sounds of Nightmare Season 2. I'm going to assume that is why, because they had a set release date with their publishers for those 2 items, and they needed the game out like in that area as well, and the game just was going too slowly, so they had to cut a bunch of shit and just deal with it. I'm going to assume that's what happened. If so, man, fuck that shit, especially because the multimedia aspect is cool. But also, there is a massive problem of the Sounds of Nightmares is required to be listened to before playing this game so you can understand the Institute segment. I mean, to be fair, you can gather a lot of what's actually happening anyway, but in order to fully understand what's happening, you do have to listen to Sounds of Nightmares. It is a required listen. This game does, unfortunately, have homework, which is not a good thing. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't need to rely on multimedia shit in order to tell your story. Like, FNAF doesn't have that. Sure, it has the movies, it has a bunch of books, but those books don't, like, they aren't canon to the game stories, you know? Like, sure, they give us some hints and some ideas and directions to go with theories, but it doesn't tell us the actual story besides the mimic. That was, like, the mimic was the main thing of us, like, being told the story. And then they went and gave us Secret of the Mimic, which was the actual mimic game about the mimic. And that told us the game's version of the story. The books were just kind of a little bit before that, you know, giving us some ideas and whatnot, and some stuff, some grounds to theorize on. But this, like, the Sounds of Nightmares is canon and is required. Unfortunately, that's just how it goes. But yeah, so Necropolis could have been so much better. And, like, clearly they could make it so much better, but they just couldn't. Or just didn't. One of those two. But next we go into the Candy Factory section of things. Yeah, so, like, these are all the concepted dudes. There was supposed to be a more of a variety. Again, unfortunately, this is some shit quality. And here's more of these guys. This was also pretty shit quality, but this is, like, them working. These are some of the levitated ones working, I think. And us supposed to be actually going in the room with them properly. Because I don't know if you realized it. The Candy Factory's kind of trash. In that regard. Actually, you know what? We'll get a little bit of gameplay in here. Because I think that section is near the start, isn't it? Chapter select, Candy Factory. We'll do empty, and we'll do alone. Just to get some stuff as alone. So let's go in so I can kind of walk around and talk about some stuff. Sorry, little bud. It is the way it is. Also, apparently sliding is in the game. I thought it was. Like, I kind of had the idea that it was, but unfortunately it does just not work for me. Like, see that? Oh, it does, but they don't give you leeway. Yeah, here we go. This is right at the start. And this is like the section where you see the people flying around, right? And you know this view is fine for the most part. But it's when you get further on, I am gonna need to play a little bit. But I figured I might as well, like, the Necropolis, I don't need to, like, give reference points in game. Necropolis was just, like, bad, like, in general. Like, I think you guys know what I'm talking about when I say how bad that whole thing was. And this is, you know who. Interesting to know she does absolutely nothing, even if you're there. Come on. Get your fucking Yukata wearing ass. Oh, shit. I completely forgot this section was here. So I want to get to the specific Candy Factory production point, so I can give you some ideas about why I'm so fucking pissed. Also, because of the control scheme for keyboard and mouse, I can't sprint crouch. All right, I just have to wait here. I forgot. I almost moved. All right, don't I have to do a few sections of this? But unlike the other games where you had a bit of a delay between sprinting and crouching, that doesn't exist here. So that means I can't slide on keyboard and mouse, which was the reason why I was having some issues. Now let's move this and continue on. Come on, blood. Okay, thank you. Right, we gotta do this too. I mean, I can actually do a sprint crouch, but it is a little annoying. I'm gonna wait here real quick first, then we can do some climbing. I can't remember. Do we need to do a chase sequence? I don't think so. Oh, one thing I did want to see is this doll still here? It is. Okay. Interesting to know. Oh, right. This is a chase sequence. Okay, yeah, we'll just play through it. I wanna... I have a point to make, so... Yippee! Yeah, I think it's coming up here in a second. Give me a second. Just want to get to it. Also, why doesn't she chase us? Like, she can, like, remove her body from the equation, but she doesn't. Which is a little weird. Come on. Alright. Yeah, see, like, this room is cool and all, but, like, what's the point of it? There's not really much of a point in this room. It's just a room. It looks so generic. There's not much going on in here. Doesn't really make all that much sense. But, you know, it is what it is. It's just a lot of, like... The candy factory is just a lot of being in the background of a factory instead of interacting with it. Which is really disappointing. And I'll show you even... I think it's coming up here, actually. I'll show you why it's just so disappointing to me that it ended up this way, because... some of the artwork I wanna show off for it. No. Why did that happen? What? Okay. Is this it? Yeah, here we go. Okay, look. Like, we're seeing the factory line and whatnot, but, like... But, like, why? We're in a factory, so why not, you know, have us actually do shit in the factory instead of only seeing the factory from, like, the background, like, as the background. Because, like, stuff like this, like, scenes like this in Little Nightmares 2 was used purely as spectacle. It was, like, to show shit in the distance, to, like, show how massive the city is. Or, like, the signal tower in the background, give you some glimpses and stuff. But, like, all of the world building shit was usually in areas you explore. And this one, like, specifically here, what is happening is you are in this area, you are in the factory, but you are going through the boring bits. You're going through the back alleys, but you're not, like, going through the actual factory section of it. And the factory section of it is replacing what used to be the spectacle part. Like, this in itself is a fine scene. Like, by itself, this is a great scene. This is really cool. The issue is, this is the only time you properly, like, see the factory at work. Like, you barely see anything else. The only time there's, like, something similar is people checking the back stock. Like, this right here, this is the factory. This is what the chapter is named after, but, like, you're not on the factory. You're not doing anything with the factory, which is really annoying. And also, right now, not much music or ambiance is going on. There was, like, that little string, but that was it. This is it. This is all you see of the factory. Everything else, nada. From here on out, it's more backroom area. Like here, yep. Oh, now we're in the system of it. Instead. You know, we don't get to actually do anything in the factory. We're just here. And again, here we go. Here's again. Here, like, this area at least is a little more interactive. Even though I feel like there should be more going on here. You should be able to hide behind here or something. Like, this is more traditional. Okay, this is what I expect of a spectacle scene you would see in Little Nightmares 2. This is what I think of. The last section, usually you would explore it. You would be down on the factory floor, like, escaping people, doing shit and whatnot. And then this area would be, like, the spectacle moment of seeing just how big this operation is. Typically. You know, that's usually how this works. And then here we are. Now we're in the back area. And that is, like, this is basically the last you see of the factory section. Like, the rest of this is offices and, you know, like, there's not much else of the actual factory left. And why are you just standing there alone? Well, I guess it's because you have to do the whatever, but it's just, it's so annoying because this factory section would have been so cool, and I'll show some of the artwork as to why it's so annoying in just a second. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything or any, like, sections I want to kind of explore through to show you firsthand. Some of the stuff. Why do I keep stuttering like that? Also, side note, unfortunately, I don't know how much of a speedrunning community there is going to be for this game, because there doesn't seem to be a lot of, like, ways to do the major glitches you could originally do. Yeah, see, like, now we're in the chiller. Like, now it's, like, we're past the factory section, back into the back area. So we start in the back area, we see the factory for, like, a tiny bit of time, and now we're re-entering normal back area again. We're not, like, the factory is over. Like, the main part of this chapter, the factory, no more. We're done. Now we're back into the back areas. Like, see, now we're offices. That's it. We're in the office. That's all there is. That is all she wrote, unfortunately. Did I ever go this way first? I don't actually remember what was in here. What was this? Oh, yeah, this is the Nat section, yeah. So, see, this is more back areas. So let me exit my menu. But, yeah, I hope you see what I mean of, it's the back. That's it. We're in the back areas. And, you know, we see this guy, by the way, and we were, I could have kept going. We were almost at this little thing again, where there was the dude wandering around. And here it shows us climbing on one of the dudes and doing shit around and whatnot. And then this is like we kind of see this earlier on. You know, that this was fine. It was whatever. But right here, this section is showing us that we would have like seen this. We would have walked through it. We wouldn't have just walked in the foreground with it in the background. We would have been in this room. We would have had to, like, if we got too close, we probably would have died. We would have had to just walk along the back, yada yada. Then we would have saw this in the background for the spectacle moment. And then this shows us we would have been on the factory floor. It wouldn't have just been in the background as a spectacle. Sorry, it's getting a little hard to talk. It wouldn't have just been in the background as a spectacle moment. We would have been on the factory floor. That was the original plan. The original plan was the candy factory as the candy factory. We would have been on the factory floor, in the factory, doing shit on the factory floor, doing shit inside of the actual factory section, not just the back. Like, I obviously I'm speaking fast because I'm getting pissed off actively just, like, talking about this. But we would have been on the factory. We would have had, like, I'm assuming this would have been sort of similar in theory to, like, the guest portion. You know? Like in the first game where, like, but instead of everybody eating and you have to do whatever, you would have been walking past, dodging, stealthing by a bunch of people working. You would have seen this firsthand. Like, how cool would that have been? Instead of just walking around the back areas and seeing the factory floor, again, the main part of the chapter. Instead of just seeing the main part of the chapter in the background of a single scene. One. That, just that one scene. Okay? Because we get this scene, and that's cool. Well, it's a bit different, because it was them kind of like flying, not... It was this part, but this, you know, whatever. That was cool. But then you show the factory in one room where you are on a pipe in the foreground and everything, all the cool stuff, the main part of the chapter is in the background. Like, come on. And then the very next room, like, gone. That's done. It is just that room that is the only part of the factory. Like what? Like, this chapter is called the Candy Factory. Okay? You would expect to be in the factory, dodging, weaving through machinery and whatnot, but no. You're in the back of the factory, you see the factory for a single scene, and done. You're just back to the back area again. And then even more here. Some more, like, treat designs, some machine designs, showing the workers working. We would have had a fucking chase scene on the factory belt. Because you can see the little dude here rushing across, us running, on the candy weave thing, the machinery right here. Like, this would have been, like, such a cool fucking chase sequence. Like, this is a proper, like this would have been, the way this looks like it would have been like a Minecraft death run. If you've ever done those, like the competitive ones on Hypixel, this would have been a thing where you're on a track doing, like, obstacles and shit, and then somebody is behind, trying to catch up and, like, activating traps and whatnot to kill, or, like, to stumble you, essentially. So, like, that's what it looks like. Like, we would have had to run on this conveyor belt And we would have had to, like, jump over things, like little, like, impurities with the candy, like, right here and whatnot. Or, well, actually, no, this is a little bit different. But, like, we would have had to, like, jump over, like, dodge this, dodge the machinery as it goes down the belt while somebody is running behind us trying to catch up and, like, activate shit and trying to kill us. Like, that would have been so damn cool! That would have been so fucking cool! What went wrong? What went wrong? What happened? Why wasn't this what we got? Why did we get, like, half an hour to an hour of roaming around the back area of a factory instead of being in the factory, on the factory floor? Like, why wasn't that what we got? You have the concepts right here. Like, everything is here, and this is the stuff you choose to show in the art book for the game. Which means this is, like, the big kahuna shit. Like, this isn't, like, a lot of the intricacies. Like, there is some of that. Like, right here, the candies. So this isn't all the intricacies. But this is some of the big stuff that you wanted to show off. Of, like, your concepts for how the chapter went. But we didn't get that. That is 2 for 2. 2 chapters where there's a bunch of cool shit in it we didn't get. And again, the glaring issue, is that this shows that they know how to make a Little Nightmares game. That they could have done it. That we could have gotten a dope as fuck Little Nightmares game. But we didn't. Like, don't get me wrong, again, Little Nightmares 3 was alright. It was okay. But it wasn't great. And I hesitate to say it was good. Like, in terms of a game, it was good. But in terms of a Little Nightmares game, it definitely was not. In my eyes. In my personal opinion. And I feel like it's not an opinion, but a fact that everybody would have loved if we got this. Because this goes to show, like, this is the kind of shit we like. This is what made the first 2 games so good, was that you were interacting with the world. You weren't just a bystander. You were a small little thing in this big world, and you were forced to go through it. Little Nightmares 1 didn't have a bunch of, like, big areas like this and whatnot. But what it made it up for was that you were going through these dangerous sections of people, like, everybody in the maw wanted to kill you. And you were trapped in the maw, and you forced to go through these active sections of the maw in order to get to your next destination. And because of that, it felt alive. It felt like the maw, like, stuff was happening. But you don't get that in Little Nightmares because you're in the fucking back. Like, you get glimpses of stuff happening, but you don't feel it. Like, you don't feel like you're in there with it. And that's such a big issue. And, like, the Candy Factory is such a big, like, moment for that. Like, where you realize that. Like, you look at this concept art, and you think about what you got in the chapter, and you're like, this chapter's so fucking dull. There's almost nothing going on. There's, like, no environmental storytelling. Like, we know this is a factory and shit's going on. But, like, that's just because it's obvious. Like, there's no intricacies. Like, you don't go into the framework of the factory and live it. You just see it from afar as you go through the back. And that's a recurring theme. Like, for the next 2 chapters. And again, I'll spew and talk about that as well. When I get to it. But, like, this is the biggest... Like, okay, so we see some more concept art of the other areas and whatnot. Not as much as the Candy Factory, but we do see some. It's just the Candy Factory is such a big, like, it's the biggest issue. Or it is the biggest one that you see the issue of. It's the largest, like, glaring issue. Well, you know what I'm trying to say. But it's just so cool. And again, we see some more of us working in the back after that, and, you know, some of the processing units, some of the different machines for that, us going through, like, some of this other area along these pipes full of, like this, not in the game, Not in the game. 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 Like, 90% of the concept art we get for the factory, not in the game. And you want to know the best part is? If it was in the game, it would have made it an even better game. It would have made it feel like more of a proper Little Nightmares game. Because as soon as I see this is a chapter I want to explore. Because I see this concept art, and I go, oh, that looks so cool. You know, you're climbing on these dead workers and shit like that. There's like all these different variety of workers, and then you find out, holy shit, there's so many workers, and then there's even more workers, and then now you're like, okay, now we're in with it. We're in with the workers. We're dodging and weaving. We know there's a lot of them, so we gotta be careful. And it's like, oh, look at them making the candy. It looks so fucking gross. That's kind of grotesque. Like, ugh. But that's super cool looking, you know, whatever. And like, oh, these are some of the candies. Like, they look nice, but we know it's gross. And like, look at this. This is an ocean violation. Like, this is disgusting. They're hand pressing this? What the fuck? And shit like that. And it's like, oh, we gotta get on the conveyor. Oh my god, we're in a very fucking dope-ass chase scene right now. Oh my god, this is super fucking cool. Like, we're on the area where the candy's being made, we're being chased, and we're trying, like, people are trying to kill us with the machinery and shit like that. This is so fucking cool. And we go through, like, okay, then now we go into the back area, some of the processing units, like, oh, look at all this, like, mass-producing machines, like, all this shit that looks so fucking gross, and just not well-maintained, and dirty, and, like, all this other shit, like, just look how bad these pipes have gotten. Some more conveyor shed. I don't actually know what this is. But it's like, come on. Like, this is just seeing these pictures. This area feels alive. This feels like an area in a Little Nightmares game. It feels like, maybe not the forest, but like the hospital. It reminds me of the hospital. Of like, you're going through this working area, and while the hospital has a lot less people in it, it still feels alive because there's so much going on. You're actively in the hospital, on the hospital floors, going through every aspect of the hospital. You go through the main lobby, you go through some of the rooms, you know, you go to where some of the patients are, then you go into the back area, you go to some of the operating rooms, and some of this and that, then you go to the morgue. Like, you see all of the hospital, like, all these areas of it, and it feels like a real place that you're piecing together all these ideas of. And you see the patients, like, what the fuck is going on here? And then you get to the back area, and you meet the doctor, and you're like, oh, the doctor's making all these weird dolls, and whatnot, like, converting the citizens into little, like, alive weird doll creatures, you know, doing all this shit, and it's telling a story. And this, while there isn't as big of a story to tell in this area, it's still, like, showing you this factory and how gross it is, how disgusting, how it's a factory developing all this shit. But the more you go into it, the more unsanitary and gross it is, the more sickly sweet it is. It's just disgusting, not overlooked. The supervisor obviously doesn't do a good job, you know, all that kind of shit. Like, you immediately see all this. You don't see any of that in the game at all, period. Like, you see some areas that are gross and whatnot, and, like, shit happened at, but it's small, and, like, you don't really get much of a context of what the fuck is going on there. Like, there's not much to it, to the other areas. There's, like, it's a fraction of what you would expect there to be in Little Nightmares environmental storytelling. This, what I'm seeing right here, this is it. Like, this is a well-crafted area I would love to explore. Like, whoever, like, the concept team, the people making up the areas, fucking wonderful job. Supermassive, you know, like, I have an issue with your game. I do. But I can recognize that you were onto something, that you can do it. Okay, you can. Because this concept art shows me that. It shows me you have the right idea. You have the idea, the vibe of Little Nightmares down. What made Little Nightmares so good with the environmental storytelling. You have it down. You have shown me you can do it. So what went wrong? Why didn't you do it? You did it. You had the idea to do it. You were doing it. But you stopped. Why? What went wrong? And again, I'm guessing this is a Bandai Namco thing. Like, I'm 90% sure. Which makes me think that I am excited for a Little Nightmares 4 as long as they get to take their time. As long as Bandai realizes that rushing Supermassive into ditching most of their content was a bad play. Especially since DLC talk, 2 chapters, which are confirmed, I think, to follow Low. Which means, like, why weren't those in the original story? Those are 2 whole chapters that, like, focus on the main character, yet aren't part of the main story. Why? Well, most likely because they were part of the main story, but couldn't finish it in time. Which does make me kind of hope that the DLCs will be really good, because they can take their time with each individual one, maybe? I'm hoping, anyway. Because, again, this concept art shows me they know what they're doing. They know, like, I know they can pull it off. They just didn't. For one reason or another. And I would love to know why. But, yeah. That's the Candy Factory. And then, here's the fair. Most of this stuff we kind of saw in-game. A lot of it didn't look as crazy as this, as far as I remember. Like, so this, I don't remember seeing. It might have been there, I just didn't notice it. And stuff like that. And you see some of the concept art here. That's pretty cool. Again, this section is, oh my god. Because, again, you see this. You see this. You see running along the game booths, actively participating. Like, they're playing whack-a-mole, and you've got to dodge the whack-a-mole mile. That's so cool. You have to, like, go inside of a crane game machine and, like, bounce along shit. That's so cool. Here's some more whack-a-mole shit. Here's, like, they're doing the water dunking fishing mini games, and you have to, like, walk past it. That's so cool. It's so cool. Why wasn't this in the game? Like, of course we go past some of these game booths, but we go past... They're in the background. Again, the exact same issue with the Candy Factory. It's in the background. You aren't in it. Like, of course, there are, like, some of these big rooms you can explore and go around it, but there's nothing in it. You can see these games in the background, like, as a set piece, and you can explore around the area, but you can't, like, go up to anything. And, like, I would show you what I mean with the Carnival, but that would require going through the entirety section of the initial part of it, the first half. So, I'm not gonna do that. In fact, what I'm gonna do is, real quick, I'm just gonna pull up my stream, actually. And just go off that. Or not my stream, my initial video. Let's just do that. It's a little hard to find where I need to be because it all looks the same. Here we go. Let me find a good area to stop at. Okay. We'll do this. Give me a second. I'm trying to look through something real quick. Give me a second. Alright, we are back. Just had to take care of something. But anyway, here's my footage of the Carnival. So you get here, and then here, you're in the back of the Carnival. You're in the back section. This is the back. And then here you goes, you get some more areas. There's the puppets, which there is only one version of the puppet. I'll get to that later. Some more areas, and then you have to fight the puppets, which is fine for the most part. You go down, and then here you get a cool scene. Now, this is one of the scenes that I do actually enjoy quite a lot. This is like one of the ones that typically I am a fan of. That is very Little Nightmares-esque, and is what I usually enjoy seeing, is being like in the back. You start in the back, and you see this massive line of people as they enter the fair, which is super fucking cool. And then you're like, oh my god, I'm about to go into the fair. There's going to be so many people, and I have to dodge them. And it's just like The Guest, or like the city section of Little Nightmares 2, where I have to avoid so many different fucking people, and it's going to be so hectic as I like go through these games and like fair rides and shit. Oh my god, this is going to be so cool. And then here you start seeing glimpses of that might not be the case, as there's currently no more, like, there's just a few people at each stall. There's no people wandering around walking. Like, it's just a few people. Suddenly, there's, like, almost no people. And that's probably because they're all near the big top tent or going there or whatever. But, again, that's another... I'll get to that in a second. As I'm just kind of walking through and showing this area off. And then again... And again, the exact same thing. There are people here. There are games, but there's only one person per game. You don't interact with the games at all. And, like, again, there's just 4 people when there should be more. This is a fucking carnival. And we saw so many people walking in the park, yet there's only, like, 4 over here doing, like, like, this is concessions! And, like, this is... Who knows what the fuck this is? Not only that... Compare that to these. These are so much cooler, twisted, intricate. These other stalls, fucking, whoops. Other stalls are, okay, hold on, whoops. Other stalls, these are basic, bitch. These are just like normal-ass looking dingy stalls. They don't look all that, like, different. And here's the puppeteer. I didn't actually notice that before. Fair enough. And then you get up here, and then actually let me go from here again. Where is everybody? It's all dead. There's no one here, no one in the background. Like that stream of people, I should be seeing that stream of people here again. I should be seeing more people. It should be feeling more like an alive carnival. But it's not. And then, like, now they show up, and you see him here, but there's no one here. There's no one walking in here. And they're all standing still. They aren't moving. They're just fucking standing there. That might be for performance reasons, but, like, then why the hell was there so many moving people before in the other area? And you've got, like, this over here. There didn't seem to be all that many people. And then here's an apple dunking thing, but that person's dead. And then over here, here's more games, but there's only 2 people here. And then there's a guy there that you have to, like, stealth and whatnot. Hold on. And, you know, he starts eating blah, 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 and then you go into here. And, like, this is fine. This is great. I like this. You see some people pigging out. It's kind of disgusting. And you're like, ugh, I know where those candy came from. But, like, then that's it. You see this once, and then you go down a fucking hole. A hole that doesn't even make sense to be there. Like, in Little Nightmares 1, you would have, or 2, honestly, both of them, You would have had to, like, climb up on the table and, like, climb over the candy and, you know, blah, 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 to get, like, to a window up here and whatnot. You would have had to interact with this. There's no interaction here. You just see it, which is a lot, like, it's an issue. It's a big issue. Because that's what makes Little Nightmares 1 and 2 so great, is that the world, you interact with it. You are forced to interact and, like, experience this world's that they're telling the story of. But you don't do that in this game. Almost, like, at all. Because now you just go down here, and then you just fucking skip it. And now you're in this section, which is a little bit better. Instead of the puppets, it should have been other people. And this section is going to be a little bit of a pain in the ass to explore, unfortunately. Like, this feels a little bit better, but again, there's not as many people as I think there would be. And you can, like, go across all of this, but, like, there's no reason to. You don't interact with any of this. This is just, like, all here. There's no point to it. And, you know, like, some of the stuff in Little Nightmares 1 and 2, there was no point to. Yeah, sure. I'll agree to that. But, the point was, it was there to, like, tell a story of the world. And this is, like, sure, it kind of does that, but, like, there's no point to this section. It's like, okay, they're playing more games. But, like, that would be fine, but it's still so dead. It's like, they're playing more games, but why is there, like, only a few people? Like, where's the line? Like, I feel like there'd be a line, like, somebody, like, you have a fair game to beat the shit out of somebody hung upside down? Sure, I'll get in line for that. What the fuck? Are you kidding me? That sounds fucking dope. You know, like, not actually the beating up somebody part, but if you, like, I don't know, like, you know? Like, this is pinata. Like, this is a pinata. Like, you see at a fair, oh my god, you could do a giant fucking pinata? Fuck yeah, I'll fucking wait in a line for an hour. The fuck? But, like, there isn't that here. There's no line, there's no nothing there. Might have to skip ahead a good bit. Oh, no, not that bad. I struggled, but I didn't struggle that bad. Okay, maybe I've struggled real bad. Because of the AI, specifically, of course. And you get over here, and then, like, yep, that's it. There's 4 people in this, like, this entire section. There's only 4 fucking people here? Are you fucking kidding me? What the shit? And then I die there like an idiot. Yada yada. But again, like, this feels so dead. Like, there's not much here. Like, this is fine. I like, you know, I like doing that little stuff. And then you go into here, and like, okay, what's going on here? Why is there nobody in here? How the hell did that dude end up there? And it's like, that's a question usually they leave unanswered in the other games, but it's like, okay, but why is he here if nobody else is fucking here? There's, like, nobody doing this tent. Like, because there's just so little people here for some reason. Even though we saw the massive line, there's a bunch of people on the ride over there. But no. And, might I add, instead of, like, having us dodge the queue for that ride, what do? A fucking stealth section with a bunch of puppets. Like, why? That makes no damn sense. And here I struggle because I don't realize it's a stealth section. Like an idiot. And then, you know, mind you, again, we're, like, pretty well into this section. We're still in the back. We're on the outskirts of the carnival. We haven't been forced to go deeper into it and interact with the carnival. We're just on the outside. Like, that's it. We're on the outside. That's it. Oh my god, can I get good at this, please? Can I realize what I'm supposed to do yet? There we go. Now we get past this section into another abandoned area, which, you know what? Fine. You know, you can have a few abandoned areas in the back, because this is the back. And, like, look at this. There was the Ferris wheel before, then there's this swing, and then there's whatever the fuck this is. There's so many damn rides, and you don't see any of it. It's just in there, like, in the background. Like, this could have been so... Oh, God, this is going to go on for a little bit. Oh, God, no. How much longer? This is embarrassing. Like, genuinely. Because that took me so long to figure out that you had to shoot the thing. Which felt a little weird. But again, like, look at this! Look at this place! It looks so cool! And then now you realize, like, oh, there's little people because we're on the outskirts. There still should be other people, like, in the game section, because the games are fun. But it's like, okay, we're on the outskirts. Like, okay, but let us go to the rest of the fair, you know? And then there's this section, but there's nobody here. In other games, there usually would be, like, an audience in here somewhere. You know, like the puppets or whatever cheering us on as we, like, split this apart and whatnot. And then we move on. And then there's this stupid-ass trap. Cheeky little bugger. As I realize what we have to do. And then here we go. See, we see some people in line moving across. So, like, and a bunch of people. It's a steady stream of people, but nobody's over here. And then now we start, like, seeing this. And this is a cool section. This is fun. But, like, that's it. And then, oh, well, now we've moved past the giant line of people that have now, like, suddenly showed up after being absent for the rest of the fucking thing. We saw the giant line of people at the start, and then it was completely absent. And then now we see a bunch of giant lines of people for other rides over here. Now there's more people. Like, a bunch of people, nobody. And then a bunch of people again, which makes no sense. Like, why? Just have us fucking do shit with people. And then here, like, this is a cool section. There should be more people around here. Like, why is this dude just by himself doing a piñata? And why is this the second damn piñata we've done? You know? And then, oh, hey, finally, our first game we get to interact with. But it's only, like, slight interaction, you know? And then... Come on. And then, oh my god, here's a line. Oh my god, we get to actually do shit in the line. And they just fucking ignore you. They're just like, oh, okay. And then instead of interacting with the line and doing like a chase sequence or anything like that, you just fucking go under. Like, bruh. You just fucking go under it. And then you completely ignore it. You ignore the big-ass line of people, and then... Like, because you should, like, ideally, chase sequence, you go over here, there's the ride, you get on the ride, and then you do this cutscene. Which, by the way, I like this cutscene. Until I realize, looking back on this, there's a guy over there clapping, yeah, sure, whatever. There's barely anybody around here. There's nobody on the carousel for some reason, even though we know there's a shit ton of people around. We go over here, and, like, I like, there we go, there's some fucking people. Typically, you would have, like, people on the sidelines looking over, like, oh my god, there's people, and then, like, reaching out for you and stuff. Not that I don't mind, like, I don't mind it being just a cute moment of being on a ride with everybody, or, like, with alone. I think it's cute. You know, this section is cool. What was this, by the way? This looked... I never fully saw this area. Was this just like a room of mirrors? Yeah, I think so. And there's like these people on here which are dead for whatever reason, but you know, it is what it is. And then you see this little sign, yada yada yada, and whatnot, whatever. And this entire area is desolate. There's nobody here. Like, I don't mind it being desolate, but there's nobody here. Like, this is a fucking fair. Hello? Like, it also would have been fun to have these people alive, and, like, you could have done something with that, but you didn't. And then, oh, now we're done, and the ride is over. And I think, actually, after this... Yeah, after this, the fair is over, isn't it? That's it. Yeah, now we get into, like, the more desolate part of the fair, and this kind of makes sense to be a little more abandoned. But then we go into here, and then this is the puppet section. And then you kind of go back, and you look at all this, and you realize, hey! Candy factory situation again. That entire fair section was spent in the fucking edge of the fair. You didn't interact. This place is called the fucking Carnival, for Christ's sake. And the first half of the fucking chapter, you spend in, like, an office area in, like, the underneath area, which is totally fine. That area's, for the most part, fine. It's still kind of boring, but it has some cool sections. And that area is, for the most part, relatively decent. Like, there's still the issues of the puzzles aren't very great. The rooms are alright. There's a lot of, like, the samey kind of rooms. There aren't, like, a lot of unique ones. And the multi-puzzle rooms are trash in this game. Because they don't interact with each other at all. I can't think of a single one that interacts. Like, I can't think of a single time where you have to go into a separate room to do something, to go to another room to unlock more of the puzzle, and then go, you know, like typical Little Nightmares 2, Little Nightmares multi-room puzzles. There isn't that one. The only one is, I think the only thing that's close is this one, where you have to go in a separate room to power up the puzzle in the main room, and then that's it. I don't think there are any other, like, things like that. I think the closest thing you could get is maybe the doll over here in the Institute. Like, technically. But, like, boom. Spent entirely in the background. You are entirely in the background. Like, you are in the back of the fair. You don't go into the fair. You don't do anything with the fair. Besides, like, going into one little area. Or, like, a few rooms of people, like, just basically, like, one or two dudes doing something, even though there should be more. And then you see, like, the rest of the fair and whatnot. And then, you know, and what pisses me off is that, like, then you go... you go here, which is a fight I had an issue with, obviously, as you guys might know if you watched the main thing, which you should have. And then you go over here, and then you see... Come on. Move off already. And you see it's like this big fucking floating thing, and that reveal's pretty cool. But, like, there's so much more. Like, there's so much more to this area. And you see this sign? That right there, that sign you never interact with, that's right here. We're supposed to be there. We're supposed to be in front of this sign. This sign, we're supposed to be in front of it. You go into it. That's a playable area. Right here, this is a playable area. This should have been a playable area, but you don't do anything with this. You do, like, the outskirts of the fair, and then you go meet the puppet. Dude, you don't properly go into it as an attraction. Because, like, this is obvious, like, it's the theater where the guy was forcing the kid to do shit earlier on over here. But you don't interact with any of this. You don't see this properly. And that was, like, this is an area you were supposed to be in front of. This is how you were supposed to get into that puppet area. And unfortunately, I don't have a lot of concept art for the festival area, or the Institute for all that matter, but I'll get to it in a second. But, like, the stalls aren't as intricate and cool looking as in the concept art. And, like, this, you see this scene. That's fine. I like that scene. But, like, we were supposed to run across the game stalls, avoiding people, like, interacting with the games. It would have been fun to interact with more rides than just, like, a 2-minute, not even 2 minute, like a minute 30-second roller coaster. And that was it. And that was all it was. It was just like a little mini roller coaster, which is fun, but it wasn't, like, anything more to it. We weren't dodging anything, or there weren't things actively chasing after us. We were just on a ride. And you know what? If we had gotten all this, if we had gotten this, if we had properly gotten what they were setting out to do, if we had run across all the game stuff, if we had interacted with another ride, like the carousel, if we had, like, or not the carousel, the Ferris wheel, if we had gone to the Ferris wheel, we did shit there, we went to the carousel, we did shit there, the giant swing, you know, if we had, like, interacted with this stuff, gone through, like, stalls and stalls of queues of, like, people and dodged everything and did proper Little Nightmares shit, and then we got into that ride, it would have made sense to just have us have a little bit of a breather on a roller coaster and actually just enjoy the ride instead of running on it. Because, like, this, I want this! This is what I want! I want to be in, like, a little area. I want to be in a claw machine with a guy, like, seeing us and smashing the window, trying to get to us, like, while we're on a timer. I want to be on here. Oh, is this... What is this, actually? I thought this was the Because this is whack-a-mole. What is this? This looks like bowling. But, like, and if it is a kind of bowling, then, like, not falling in the hole, not getting hit by these things, that would have been cool, as they're, like, actively trying to grab us, and then this, you know, the time thing, and then this trying to not get whack-a-mole, and this trying, you know, to swim across or not fall in the water, you know, or, like, not get, like, caught by their land things, you know, like, you know? It would have been so cool. And then right here, you know, with the dude. And that's how you go into the puppet area. And I don't have a picture of it, but there are other designs for the puppets. There were supposed to be more than one. There's supposed to be a few different ones. And, like, I'm not talking about, like, they're all the same dude, like, they're the same puppet with just different outfits. No, there were some that looked completely different. There was going to be multiple variations of puppets, which would have been cool, but we only really got one with maybe a different outfit or two, which sucks, you know? Like, that's three for three. Well, I guess 2 for 4, or 2 for 3, because Necropolis, no, actually no, 3 for 3, because again, Necropolis had the baby room that I showed off. I think there was a few other things in Necropolis that I didn't show off. I just don't have pictures of them at the moment. And whatnot. But, like, this Necropolis had sections of the game that would have enhanced the chapter, made it actually feel good, because Necropolis was kind of just crap as a chapter, just in general. But if you had added this stuff, there's, like, the stuff that you were supposed to have in the chapter. If you had stuck with your original concepts and had, like, actually done your original stuff, that would have been an amazing Little Nightmares game. But instead, you dumbed it down for whatever reason. I'm assuming rushed, but, you know, this would have made the chapter a lot better. You did a lot more environmental storytelling. This, you would have done a lot more environmental storytelling with the Candy Factory. Would have been a much better chapter. This, a lot more environmental storytelling and a lot more interesting as a chapter anyway, because there isn't much in the fair. Again, you're in the outskirts of the fair for like a fourth of that chapter. Again, a fifth in the bottom area in the offices, which most of that was also kind of the samey looking and kind of boring, with a few cool rooms-ish here and there. But a lot of it was just like walking through halls one place to another, instead of like in Little Nightmares 1 where you walk one place to another through all these different rooms that feel lived in, like they feel important. But all these, like, in the first half of this, and like the entire game, a lot of it is spent wandering in unimportant places that aren't interesting at all visually or, like, conceptually. And then you maybe get to a cool room you interact with and, like, you get some lore on, and then that's it. So that happens in the first chapter. It happens in the second chapter. The first chapter, it makes sense that you're a little bit more in the background, but again, there's not much you do in the first chapter either. Like, again, there's not much you do in the second chapter with the, like, the concept of it. There's not much you do in the third chapter with the concept of the chapter, because, like I've been saying, half the chapter's in the offices. A fourth of the chapter is actually in the fair, but it's only on the outskirts. You're never in the fair. And then the other fourth is the puppet tent, which is alright-ish in its own right. It's an alright area, I suppose. Not the greatest, but it is what it is. I guess it's an area. But the actual, like, the carnival part of the carnival section, you don't get to interact with. Even though the concepts show, oh yeah, we were actually supposed to do shit in the carnival section. And we don't even see the big top, which was a big part of the Sounds of Nightmares. Like, I thought that would have been the guy or whatever. Or maybe that was the guy. Or maybe this, like, but, like, it doesn't feel like the big top area. Go to the big top area. Do this. Show me this. You know, do this, that, and the other. Give me some rides. Like, give me the actual fucking carnival. Not half of, like, not a shit ton of offices, the outskirts of one, and then the inside of some puppet dude's thing. Like, come on, dude. What the actual fuck? That's so goddamn fucked. But yeah, it's just so annoying. And that's, like, 3 out of 4 chapters that are like that. And then now we go on to 4 of 4, because now we go into the Institute. Now this looks largely relatively similar. I will say the shades of green and all this is a lot more in shadow. This is a lot more dark looking. I did not notice the foot right there originally. But I will say the Institute is very bright. It kind of ruins the chapter a little bit for me. Let me find more of the Institute. Like the proper parts of it. Like this part is fine for the most part. Again, this suffers from the fact that this is just all unimportant, uninteresting areas that are like constantly repeating. Because again, the Institute is largely like the same generic rooms, with a few maybe interesting places. Like, you know, there isn't a lot here to like look at and whatnot. And I think actually the first part of this isn't all that bad. And this is me looking at the achievements. Give me a second. Where was the more outside section that looked pretty... I don't know. Like, this was cool for the most part. The chases in here were pretty decent. But also, for an institute, there's, like, a reliance on overgrowth. And making this place seem like overgrown. Like, why? It's a fucking mental hospital. You don't need to do that. You don't need to ruin it like that. And you do kind of see some of this in here. But, like, this is a lot more toned down. It's, like, coming through this doorway and whatnot. But most of the area is fine. In here, it's, like, everywhere. All of it is vines. There's, like, the plant sections and whatnot. Specifically, the outside section was, like, kind of meh. And maybe this wasn't as bad as I thought it was. It did look a lot more brightly colored. I don't know, it looks like a lot more lush. It's not eerie. I don't know. It's just something about how lush the entire, like, institute was. Just felt like, why would you do that? I want to see the institute, not the fucking Jumanji area, you know? And you see some of that here, but, like, this is more tame and whatnot compared to that. I wish it was more tame. That's just an issue I have in general. You also don't see that a lot here. This looks a lot more like proper institute. And the area doesn't look anything like this. It doesn't look anywhere near as cool. Let me find... Where's that hallway? Here we go. Like, you look at this. This doesn't look cool or eerie at all. And then you look at this fucking area, like, holy shit, this looks creepy. Like, the tiled floor, which I believe has the eyes on it. Yeah, you can see the eye, like, right there. Just, unfortunately, the picture quality is trash. And, like, this right here makes it, like, look like we were supposed to be able to go in, like, the front door or whatever. And, like, this area, you know, whatever. I still don't like the overgrown part. But then you go to this section, and this looks a lot more proper. Like, I want this. This is what I want. I want what you have down here in the concepts. Like, this neat tiled-looking floor, and it all looks cool like this. And then here, the fucking, what are they called again? My brain's a little fried right now. It's like 12:30. Oh my god. Is it Rorschach? I think it's Rorschach test, right? Oops. Not what I meant to do. Rorschach test. Yes. I spelt it wrong, but that is what I was looking for. But, like, here, like, we didn't see a Rorschach test. We saw a room kind of relatively similar to this. Actually, we saw a room like this, but didn't have a Rorschach test on it. In fact, the thing was off, and then when you, like, turned on, or you... Right, because this was... Actually, I'll show you what happened to this fuck-ass room. Where is it? Where is... the projector? Where is that projector room? Oh, and then here's this area, which again I didn't like. I didn't like the outside area. That looks cool. Or, well, like some of it looked cool, but like didn't fit the Institute vibe. Like the which moment is it? Where's the moment outside with the one thing? Yeah, this moment. This moment right here, this is cool, but it doesn't fit. Like, this feels like in between the Institute. Like, you're going to the Institute. That's what this feels like. And you see, like, the giant arm and whatnot. And then you go to the Institute where, like, the arm originates. You know, that would have been cool. But that isn't what happened. Where the bloody hell is the projector room? That isn't it. Because I know we have to go through it, don't we? I swear it's like... You know what, we'll just go through this manually. Yeah, here it is. This is what happens. It's just this little screen, and this room doesn't look anything near as cool. Like, this has the cool designs on the floor, this right here, this is off to the side, and it has the Rorschach test right here. And then you go here, and it's like, it's all fucking, like, I don't know, this looks a little more proper, I guess, but it doesn't look as eerie or creepy. And then, like, as you can see, it's just off. The projector is off. It doesn't do anything. It's just, you know, like, give me this room. This room would have been so fucking cool. And then this one right here, where you see like the more of the play area for the children. And again, I don't really feel all that fondly about the overgrowth. That's kind of meh to me anyway. I don't personally like this. But, like, you know, we don't see much. We, like, get to the main, like, downstairs part where some of the other children are, and then we go to, you know, the other part. Well, no, okay, so see what happens in the in the chapter. We enter the building in, like, the bottom main section, and then we immediately go to a bunch of, like, back areas. Again. We go back areas and whatnot. Now, then again, some of these areas are a little more, like, office, or... yeah, some of it are offices, some of it are patient rooms. But that's about it. We don't see, like, we see the main start area and immediately see some of the patient areas and then go to Otto's area and then that's it. Like, we don't see this. This would have been cool. Because, like, this looks like, okay, this would have been, like, the office area and, like, some of the testing stuff with the Rorschach test and whatnot. And then we would have moved on to the children's area. Like, here's a classroom looking thing. Here's another playroom. And, like, this looks like properly segmented, which what we got wasn't. It was kind of weirdly done. And it was a bunch of rooms put willy-nilly. Like, because they have the playroom right next to the fucking room Lo was locked away in. Like, how the fuck does that make sense? It doesn't. That's so fucking weird. Like, unless it's Lo's personal playroom, but every child... I doubt every child has their own playroom. I guess, like, maybe because Lo's a special case, but it wasn't, like, in a special area. It was near the start. Like, it wasn't in Otto's area where you would think it would be. Like, this looks like it would have properly been done where you enter, it's, like, overgrown near the entrance because it's the closest to the elements. And then, like, you get into some of the hallways. These are more properly, like, maintained. Or they aren't as overgrown. It's abandoned, but not overgrown. You get, like, to the main hallways, and then you get some of the offices and testing rooms with the Rorschach test, and then you eventually would have ended up in the children's ward, where, like, this is their play area, a classroom, probably where they kept the children that needed to stay there at the ward. And then you go to Otto's area, and then, like, here's some more offices, and then, like, this area, and it would have been all weird and, like, twisted, corrupted. Like, this area looks properly twisted, unlike here, and that's some good environmental storytelling because it means that this area is more close to wherever, like, the origin point of how the hell this place got there was, and that's some cool environmental storytelling. But that's not what happened at all. It's more destructive in that area, sure, but it's not like as twisted as like this. Like this is more warped, like some shit is floating. You know, like something was originally like it was supposed to be so much more different. And that's another thing. I actually had some people talking about, or I've come across some people talking about their experience with the demos. They said it was completely different, or not demos, but like testing and whatnot. That was completely different. The game was supposed to be longer, by the way. The areas were supposed to be longer and supposed to do like there was more shit in it, and everything was more different. I feel like it probably would have been more close to this, which is what I would want. I want this. I want these cool areas. We didn't get cool areas like that. The most we saw was like some areas hinting at Otto and his testing rooms, which is cool, but like not much of it, because then immediately we go into a bunch of hallways that feel like it would be weird that Otto has like this big sprawling section with a bunch of hallways and different rooms in it. Like, just give him a proper actual section to go through. Jesus Christ. Don't pad out time by like doing weird shit with halls. Because again, like, this shows like you would have been interacting with the Institute more instead of being in the hallways most of the time. Because most of the time you're in the hallways and like a few offices that don't really matter, you know? It's the same issue. It's 4 for 4 on what happened. What happened? In this area, and then the last page shows the entrance area. And like, we didn't even see one of these. Like, here's this, and like, this is probably would have been the different areas, you get like different access. This reminds me of the hospital when you first get there. And branching paths. We didn't see this. I want to see this. I want to see this. This is the areas I want to see. I want to see the actual world. Not the fucking back, like, areas of it. With, like, some of the world in the fucking background. No, I want to be in the world. Like in Little Nightmares 1. In Little Nightmares 2. And it's so obvious by the concept art that you originally planned on doing that. Okay? Because this art book shows that you had a fan-fucking-tastic looking Little Nightmares game. Also, I kind of like your hairstyle a little bit more like this, Low. Although, I think you're white. So, original Low is supposed to be white. He's fine being a black kid with an old dude's face. I don't care about that. His design I actually quite like. I'm not the biggest fan of Alone's design, personally. Alone's fine. Just like, here and there. And also, I'm pretty sure Alone is a girl. I just don't know why I thought they were a boy. I don't know why. I guess I thought like I saw something somewhere about it, but no, I'm pretty sure they're a girl. Actually, you know what? I can actually just look, can't I? In Steam. Let me just look. Yeah, mixed. Unfortunate, but that's just how it goes. Can you shut up, please? Thank you. Oh, did they not say? I don't think they ever refer to them with pronouns, so I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure they are. Or, pretty sure. Alone is. Capture intrusive little visitors. You might find yourself terrifying hide and seek with Monster Baby. Not really. Standing ruins the necropolis, struggling to avoid swarms of voracious candy evils. Which only happens twice, or no, 3 times. You only deal with these like 3 times. Running along the links of the filthy fun fair, which again doesn't happen. You don't do this. You don't do this at all. Like, it shows that you were supposed to, but you don't. And to be fair, this was all up here for like quite a while. I could pause these? Sorry, I just spiraled off topic. I didn't realize you could pause these GIFs. And, like, this makes it clear that there was a section like this, which would have been fine if this was, like, leading into the factory where you get onto it. Or, like, this was, like, leaving it or something. I don't know. I just wish you were in the factory, like in your concept art. I wanted the game you were trying to make, not the game you actually made, bro. It's such an issue. Like, you know, and this is why it pisses me off so much, because It shows that we did have a Little Nightmares game, a proper, good Little Nightmares game on our hands. And it just didn't happen. Which is so fucking depressing, and it's so infuriating. Like, dude, man, what the fuck? And that doesn't even, like, this doesn't even tackle the... I just realized, do I, like, zoom in more as I... Yeah, I do. That's kind of funny. But, like, it doesn't also... there's also the issue of none of it, like, connects. Because in Little Nightmares 1, you're all in one place. It all matters and flows into each other. Little Nightmares 2, it's not quite as connected, but everything is connected back to the signal tower, and you're wandering, like, a full area, like the cityscape and the direct outside forest. Like, that general area, you're wandering a general area surrounded and by, like, the signal. And that, like, it's all being affected, tying to one place. It all leads back to one place. Little Nightmares 1 is all in one place. That all leads to the lady. That all leads to one person. In Little Nightmares 2, it's a big place of multiple areas that all lead to one person in one singular spot. That's all being affected by the same thing. But it's all connected. All of it is connected together. All of it. But this game? No. There's a few things, like the candy factory shows up, like the candy shows up in the fair, and I think there's a few posters of the supervisor for the candy factory there. And I know in the necropolis, I think it's in the latter half, so I'm not going to play to that, because it would take half an hour. Well, actually, maybe not that long, but it would take a while to get there. Actually, you know what? What am I doing? Again, I can just fucking show you. Give me a second. Let me see if I can find it. Is this it? Yeah, here we go. So there's the candy and the fair. Those are connected. There is this. I believe. Why is this so low quality on my screen? I'm in 144p. I've noticed this, that when I'm watching something with this, for some reason the quality kind of dips. Or is it? Yeah, like, look how shit this looks. Because, like, give me a second. Let me just make sure this isn't a streaming thing. I might be, like, on terrible settings and I never realized it. Give me a second. I don't think it's that bad. Let me look. I'm gonna leave this on so you can hear me in the background. I'm tampering with shit. If my laptop would respond. Let me look at my own video real quick on my laptop and see if it's bad or worse. Go to 1440p. It's not actually as great as I thought it would be. To be fair, this is actually a 1080p monitor. Oh. Oh. Oh, well that's not good. Have I been streaming with poor quality this entire time? Let me look. Or is it just Little Nightmares 3 that looked that way? No, I think it's just Little Nightmares just look that way for some reason. That's weird. Because some of my newer videos still look decent. So I guess, well, part of it is my monitor. It didn't look this bad. I think it's just because of how dark it was. I probably should have upped my brightness. That probably would have helped. Like, if I go here, how bad or good does this look? Well, this looks decent. What about this? Yeah, this also looks decent. Yeah, I guess it's just because it's dark, which is a little unfortunate. So I just realized this night section lasted like... Oh, lasted a decent amount of time. But yeah, so if you see this, there was like some stuff about, I think some of the chalkboards here had like, what was it? Mirrors and like stuff with, oh, the gong, sorry. Yeah, I had like the gong, and I think there was like somewhere here was like a hand with an eye, and that was like in relation to the Institute, and it's like a little prophecy foretelling thing. And then, you know, there's a few things here, like, you know, this is like, is this eye or carnival shit? I don't know. You know, there's a few things here, like in this one specific room, but that's it. Those are the only 2 times that are like, there are like major connection things. Like, the world doesn't interact with each other, and it doesn't all lead to one thing. Like, Otto is the final boss, but he, like, isn't, you know? Like, he's the final boss you face, but he doesn't, like, feel like it. Because in Little Nightmares 1, it was the lady overseeing the entire operation. In Little Nightmares 2, it was the thin man that was doing the twisting, that was, like, twisting everything and, like, fucking shit up. But, like, you know, like, this game, you don't have that. Otto isn't doing anything. He's just fucking there at the Institute. And Lo is, just kind of there for the ride. He's just there. He goes to the Necropolis, the fair, and the candy factory for fucking no reason other than he needs to go there for plot reasons, and then he goes to Otto, and then that's it. Like, because again, there's another issue with the game, besides the little awakening cutscenes. Like here... yeah, here we go. Come on. Yeah, like here, and I think there's another one over here. Besides those Awakening cutscenes, I think there's like 2 of them. There's 2 Awakening cutscenes, and then like the Institute, which is like an hour long. So there's only an hour out of this game matters story-wise, and like 2 extra cutscenes. The rest of the game doesn't matter. There's no like... They don't connect to the story at all. They aren't being overseen by Otto. They aren't being, you know, like... They aren't connected with each other. They don't... You know, it's like, why? You know, that was part of the reason why Little Nightmares was so great. Like, all these areas are called the Spiral. It's all supposed to be one location, but they don't work with each other. Like, you know, it isn't like the first 2 games where it all works with each other. It's just like 3 areas that don't matter to each other, besides like, you know, the prophecy section or the prophecy chalkboards and the candy factory supplying candy. There's the only 2 things that like cross over with other sections. That's it, which is fucking disappointing. Because that was like some of the big reasons why Little Nightmares 1 and 2 are so fucking great. Is because everything matters. It all connects. It all goes with each other. You know, you have the teacher continuing her twisted teachings and doing shit there, and you have the doctor taking care of the twisted patients, and you have the thin man doing it all, and the hunter who was supposed to be, you know, doing the hunting for the city is now, like, hunting people, you know, like, all this shit. But, like, then you have the Necropolis, which is just a sandy beach fucking city with a giant baby in it for some reason. And you don't find out what the fuck that baby's deal is. And you would have in the original game, because you go to the baby's lair. Or you go to the baby's lair. So I imagine you would have learned at least, like, a little bit of something through context clues. But you don't at all here. Like, you learn what the baby can do, but not what the fuck the baby's about, what it's for, why it's there. And there's also the fact that there's, like, the potential that you start out on the Ma, which kind of feels like, man, why would you do that? Like, I know it's a theory, but it's a theory I'm not going to subscribe to, because I feel like that's just a little fucking, like, dumb and lazy. But, you know, you wake up, you go through a sandy city with a baby you don't know anything about, and you won't learn anything about because they fucking skipped over and decided to cut out the shit that would have done that. The actual good shit of the chapter, they just cut out. They cut the fat. Or not the fat, they cut the meat, left the fat, honestly. That's kind of what this game is they cut the meat out, they left the fat. That's like all these areas are. And then you go to the candy factory, and then you don't see any of the actual factory besides one room. And then you go through the rest of the back rooms and you meet the supervisor, and then that's it. That's all that area has to offer besides providing candy to other places. That area no longer matters. Like, it doesn't connect to anything else. And then you go to the fair, and again, that area, you don't actually go through the fair, you just go through some offices, a little bit of the back of the fair, but not into the actual fair, and then a puppet dude's hideout. And then that's it. That no longer matters, because that's all it is. It's just a place to go through, because there's no connectivity beyond that. And then you go to the Institute, and then things start to matter, because then you start to realize, like, if you listen to the Sounds of Nightmares, which again, homework issue, but you have to do that to, like, understand fully what's going on there. But then you're like, oh, this is the fucking county's institute. Which, by the way, the ending I've kind of sweetened on a little bit. I'll talk about that in a second. It's like, oh, the county's, you're in the county's institute. Like, oh, okay, so the guy is Otto. That, my theory was correct. The main big bad is Otto, but then you, like, fight him and you realize, okay, but why was he the big bad if he didn't fucking matter? Like, all that mattered was that he was, like, related to Lo. Sorry, no, he matters to the story, but he doesn't matter to the rest of the world. So it doesn't make sense that he's the big bad when, like, usually, you know, it's all connected to each other. He's the big bad. And, like, the last guy is the big bad, or there's, like, some, like, overarching thing that happens with the guy, you know? But that doesn't happen here at all, which is massively disappointing, and it looks like that could have potentially been the case before. Or, it could have been the opposite case before, where there could have been connectivity. They just couldn't add it, just like they couldn't add all of the other cool fucking rooms, and, like, the actual game they were trying to make. Like, they were trying to make a game, and, you know, they had the full course meal ready, and then Bandai was like, fuck that shit, and took all the meat, left the fat, and then, like, that was the game that we got. Because, again, I'm going to safely assume it was Bandai's fault, because it's usually, it's publishers rushing shit, you know, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so, that was the unboxing, and that was the art book, and that is why I am so goddamn pissed off. At, like, all of this, you know? Like, we could have had so much more. Like, they showed us that they had so much more planned, and then we didn't get any of it. Which goes back again to the thing of, what the fuck happened? What happened? Why did it end up like this? You know, it just sucks. Because the art book shows me a game I genuinely want to play and genuinely think would be so cool, and we don't get that. We get something else that isn't the game that they were making. That sucks. It sucks, man. Like, it would be easier if they just made a bad game, and it was like, oh, Supermassive are shit at this. Like, they don't understand Little Nightmares, yada yada yada. But the fact that that art book exists with all that cool concept art, it's like, no, they understand what they're doing. They know how to make a good Little Nightmares game. They just couldn't. Or didn't. You know, either of the two. Or both. You know, like, it sucks because I know they could do it. They did do it. they made something great, and then they failed to translate over that into the actual game. Which fucking sucks. Majorly. And then you get to the ending, and the theories on the ending, which I didn't really talk about, because I had a theory that he didn't actually make it out because of the way the place was all abandoned and whatnot. And then I was on that for a while, and then somebody was like, oh no, the place, the end room where the cutscene takes place, where Lo is putting together the mirror again, is called the Counties in the Files. I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. Why would he be, like, escaping the Counties Institute and going back to the Counties? And then I was like that for a while, and then somebody was like, or, well, actually, I was like, oh, you know what? Counties is probably the name of the city. So when it says Counties, it means he went to a place in the city, Counties, where, or city or town, wherever he lives, right? He probably ended up there, like back at his home or something, and it just says Counties because it's the location, the city, town, whatever. And he didn't actually go to the Institute, which makes more sense and is makes my thoughts of the ending a little bit better. Even though there are, I think, a few loose ends here and there, and whatnot, and some confusion about the Institute and the flashbacks, because he does drawings of the locations he's visiting. To be fair, he does also draw some of the places that he hasn't visited yet, and shit like that. But I don't know. There's some weird stuff going on there. But like the wake up sequences seem to be directly correlated with the previous scene when it happens. So it makes me think, oh well, actually, you know what? When is that? Cause no, I think that's somewhere near the Institute, isn't it? I don't know. But anyway, the wake up sequences at least felt like they were like him actually waking up, and then he was slowly being like drawn back into the nowhere. But that also, I don't know, that obviously isn't the case, or most likely isn't. But then you get to the questions of, all right, well, if he's already a denizen of the nowhere, then why the hell isn't he brainwashed and like his memory altered and whatnot? Like, why does he remember his home? He shouldn't. Because when you get brainwashed into like becoming a denizen of the nowhere, when a child gets abducted fully and becomes a denizen of the nowhere, they get like kind of brainwashed. They lose some of their memories and stuff like that. Yet he remembers the home he grew up in because that's where he's going. He like wants to actively escape the nowhere, even though you're generally brainwashed to not. Like, for example, Six and Mono try to escape their dangerous situations, but they don't try to go back home. Like, if Mono wanted to, he probably could. He probably could try and find a TV connected to the real world and go back home with Six. But he doesn't do that. Conveniently, Lo is able to go through mirrors and can go back into the real world, Like, that doesn't feel quite right. It doesn't feel right that he would want to, considering he's a denizen of the nowhere, would want to be there, even though, like, it doesn't make sense to be, because you're kind of brainwashed when that happens. There's a whole thing of, like, okay, there's more to Lo's story that you weren't telling us. There's more here, Like, some of this story doesn't fucking make any sense. Especially since the story is only in the last hour of the game. Like, you don't learn anything else from the other sections of it, so yeah. I don't know, there's just a bunch of issues I have with the game, and so while this might not have been a full gameplay VOD where I go back and do a bunch of secrets, am I gonna do that? Probably not. Unfortunately, things are quite busy. I can't play tomorrow, and the day after that is Pokemon ZA, and then we gotta do that, and we gotta play that. And then we've got you know, a bunch of other games to do. I want to fucking hop on Fortnitemares at some point. I need to, in order to get some challenges done, in order to do more of the battle pass, in order to do, like, have fun with Fortnitemares, because it's pretty stacked Fortnitemares, even if the gameplay doesn't look all that stacked, unfortunately, but, you know, there's some cool shit here and there. And there's a bunch of other stuff, so unfortunately, I don't think I'm ever going to find the time to do another, like, achievement thing, especially since there isn't, actually, let me just make sure there isn't, just fully make sure, is there a secret for getting all dolls, Little Nightmares 3? Yeah, it looks like the collectibles don't actually do anything this time. I know they didn't really do much in the first game. Can't remember what they did. What do the lady statues do? Little Nightmares. Oh, right, you get a skin out of it, which I don't think you get in. Oh, that's how you get these skins I have. Oh, so like this Shadow 6 you probably get for doing all the shadows. And like, I don't know, some of these other ones maybe are just normal skins, but maybe this one you get for smashing all the bottles and whatnot. So wait, so that means, oh, that kind of sucks, because that means the skin pack, like, removes all of the, like, fun out of getting skins. I thought the skin packs would just be giving me new skins on top of the ones that you're already supposed to get. And it looks like there should be 3 more, like over here, or maybe this is, I don't know. And also the ferryman was like wasn't part of this game at all, even though he was kind of like teased up to be. Like, he should have stopped again with the Mono Escape in the real world. Ferryman should have stopped him. Because the Nowhere, like, should obviously be retaliating against someone trying to get out of it. Like, it went through the trouble of brainwashing and, like, getting, you know, like, manipulating and bringing someone over into the Nowhere. Like, there's no way it just lets him leave. You know? And make that the fucking story. Make that the story of the game. Like, everything's going after you and so aggressive, and you're going through all these areas. And the Nowhere is, like, actively fighting against you, trying to, like, not let you leave. But that wasn't the case. That's not what happened. Like, that would have been a good overarching story to connect everything, even if loosely. But, like, Little Nightmares 2 was also relatively loosely connected as well. It wasn't as connected as as the first game or anything like that. That would have been fine, but that's not what happened. That's not the story of this game, because there is no story other than Lo wanting to leave. And that's it. That's all the story is Lo wants to leave, and he leaves, and Alone is imaginary, and scene. And, oh yeah, Otto and the Institute have somehow gotten into the Nowhere, and we will probably not find out until Sons of Nightmare Season 2 or something like that, you know? Like, there's no overarching plot. The world doesn't matter at all to what's going on. They're just obstacles. That's all it is. Everything's just an obstacle. It isn't, like, important or integral or connected in any way, or shape, or form, you know? Again, besides, like, the 2 little instances of the chalkboard and the candy. But that, again, that's, like, something minor. That is a cool detail, but, like, that isn't enough. That, like, you need more than that, dude. But, yeah. Yeah. That's just how it ended up being, unfortunately. And yeah, so I guess this is all for Little Nightmares 3 for now. Obviously, I'll be doing the DLCs when they drop, because I still love Little Nightmares, and I still want to play more of it, even if it isn't as good. Um, and you know, mandatory $40 for a game, like as long as the first game essentially is kind of like hilarious mention, you know, all that kind of shit. Even though it took longer for me because that was because I was actively hunting for secrets and whatnot. A typical playthrough is still around like 3-ish hours, which is about the length of the first game and shorter than the second game, which is kind of crazy. That it is more. It is the most expensive, but like not the longest. Even though, again, I did see some comments in some other videos of perspectives I watched where people were saying it was supposed to be longer, and the playtesting they did was longer, and you know, all that kind of shit. It just sucks. Again, it just sucks that we didn't get what we could have. What, like, the art book showed us Supermassive was cooking, and then they were forced to serve the pie fucking, like, 1 minute out of the oven. Or no, actually, they were forced to, like they were making a chicken pot pie, and then they put in the fucking peas, and then were forced to put it in the oven like that instead of adding all the other ingredients. And then it came out underbaked anyway as well. Because, you know, all the glitches and whatnot, and you know, the soft locks. Which, apparently there's a lot of soft locks in co-op. There was also some soft locks in single player. I did get soft locked that one time. Which is kind of crazy. But anyway, that's enough blabbering. You know, unfortunately it isn't a secret video, but I'm probably not going to do one because it doesn't really matter. I'm not big on achievement hunting unless it's a game I really, 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 really love. And even then, with Little Nightmares 1 and 2, which I really, 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 really love, I'm not going to be doing achievement hunting on there either. So I don't know why I would here if it doesn't really do anything, so. Yeah, so that's where I'm going to leave Little Nightmares 3 until the demos. I hope you guys enjoyed my initial playthrough, and if you're still here after all of my fucking rambling, 2 hours, by the way, 2 hours of rambling. I didn't realize I would go this long, but apparently I had a lot to say. So if you made it through all 2 hours of my rambling, holy shit. Thank you, I guess. And, you know, look out for more content and whatnot from me. We got a pretty sick lineup coming up here soon. If you're looking for another horror game, I do plan on playing Look Outside when 2.0 releases. I would play it now, but I would rather wait just for 2.0 so I don't, like, I already have a busy schedule this month as it is. And, freaking, like, Arc Raiders is going to be coming out, and then the new Fortnite season, like, because 2.0 is supposed to come out around Halloween, I think. And the new Fortnite season, I think, is, like, early November, and there's, game that has Jacksepticeye in it. Why am I blanking on the name? It is because it is 1 a.m. and I am tired. Dispatch. Dispatch is coming out the 22nd, but they release new chapters. I think like 2 new chapters of the game weekly. For like I think 4 weeks. I think because I think it's 8 chapters. So for a month, every day, or every certain day, I'm gonna have something to do. And then again, Fortnite and ZA. If I don't finish it, I would love to do Digimon Time Story. I have other games on my desktop I want to play. And, you know, Marathon closed technical test I'll be doing, which unfortunately I have to do alone, but that's just how it is. Battlefields, do some Battlefield with the boys. I got to do the campaign mode. Would be fun. And, you know, I just got so much shit to do. That, like, I figured, okay, I'm just gonna wait for 2.0 because otherwise I'm not gonna get to 2.0 anytime soon. Same issue happened with Slay the Princess, where I did the initial version and then the update came out not long after, but I got busy with other shit and ended up not being able to go back to it. Will I go back to it? Probably not. I probably won't do the princess update until maybe like a year or so from now, when I'm like, man, I want to play Slay the Princess again. Let's go do some new rats. You know, shit like that. But yeah, so look forward to Look Outside whenever that comes out. Luckily it's the back half, and I know it's a big game. But luckily it'll be towards the back half. So I won't start Digimon Time Story until probably after finishing that. And maybe a few things. I don't know. We'll play it by ear. We'll decide. Maybe I'll do Digimon Time Story like on the side as well. The only issue is I do have my Minecraft Reclamation series that I haven't done anything for in a little bit. And I only have one VOD left in backlog. So I probably got to do that. And a few other things. It's just busy. Busy. Not a lot of time. I also need to be doing job hunting so I can move away from my job. So, anyway. Just point is, I've got a busy life. With all the games coming out, me heavily disliking my current job and wanting another one. Even though I wish I could focus on streaming, get to a point where I could just rely on streaming instead. You know, bunch of shit. So, that will be coming at some point. So that will be like the next horror kind of related game, even though it's not really all that scary. I do have a few kind of more psychological horror-esque stuff on my desktop for us to play as well. So, maybe I'll do that sooner if I feel in the mood for any of them. And that kind of shit, but yeah. So, if you like Little Nightmares 2, or if you just like Little Nightmares in general, and you like my playthrough of it, enough to be getting to this point of a fucking discussion VOD, 2-hour discussion VOD, essentially this is just a podcast episode. If you like my content enough for that, then just wait around, I'll get to that eventually when the update comes out. And yeah. I think that's about it for my rambling. So, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys when the DLC comes out. And, yeah. Peace.